Hi everyone. Today's video is about the 1976 Operator's Manual, this original Operator's Manual for the 76 Dodge Monaco, Charger, Coronet, Aspen, and Dart. Now, if you've seen some of my previous videos, you may know that the 1976 Dodge Aspen was my family car when I was growing up. And that is what inspired me to go ahead and order this manual from Amazon. But let's take a quick look through it. I'm not going to cover every page in detail, but it is a fun journey down memory lane. And if you owned or are familiar with the 76 Monaco, Charger, Coronet, Aspen, or Dart, I hope that you appreciate this quick little video. I love these advertising slogans. Extra care in engineering, it makes a difference in Chrysler Corporation cars. Here's the table of contents. This will give you an idea of what I am about to cover and the pages that I don't cover in this video in much detail. But there's off to a good start, seats, seat belts and mirrors, instruments and controls, operation, optional accessories, station wagon features, tires and wheels, appearance care, safety and security, maintenance, specifications, assist starting, and service assistance index and service station checklist. Look at those keys. Now that brings back memories. That's pretty cool to see. One round key for the glove and luggage compartment. And another key for the ignition and door locks. This gives special instructions if there is a flooded engine. This is something I find interesting. The instruments and controls, this is for the Monaco. Cluster details, Charger and Coronet. Instruments and controls, Aspen. This is what I'm familiar with. Cluster details, Aspen. I always was fascinated as a kid to see that this would go up to 100 miles per hour. I thought that was so fast. Of course, that's what the speedometer says. What the car would do is another question. But that sure looks familiar. Here's the instruments and controls for the Dart. And it's nice to be able to get a manual like this at a reasonable cost, and it's in fairly decent condition. There are various ways that you can spruce up something old like this, for example, using baking soda if it gets kind of an old musty smell. So right now this has very little odor to it because I gave it the treatment using the special method where you use like a freezer bag and you put baking soda in with the paper item, in this case the manual, and then you stick it in the freezer for about a week or so, and then you can get some great results. Anyhow, here's the cluster details for the Dart. Parking brake operation. Information for manual transmissions. Oh, and on the left page, the automatic transmission. Yeah, the column-mounted selector. That's what the Dodge Aspen had. There's so much information here. I'm going to cover the rest of this relatively quickly unless something especially catches my attention. The old style knobs are interesting to see. Heater and upper level ventilation controls. So different than the modern ones now. There's the slider to use for adjusting the temperature and the heat, defrost, and vent settings. Optional accessories. Air conditioning controls for the Monaco Charger, Coronet, and Aspen. Lower coolers for the Monaco. Again, there's just so much information here. It is fascinating to think that in 1976 they had what they called an auto temp control. Automatically controls the heating and air conditioning operations to maintain a comfortable temperature in the car. Very little adjustment is required regardless of outside weather conditions. Interesting. About 50 years ago. There's the AM radio. This also talks about the FM reception, if a vehicle is equipped with an FM radio. AM/FM stereo radio, AM/FM stereo radio and tape player. The Dodge Aspen that my family had when I was growing up had an 8-track tape player. Surge tune AM/FM stereo radio. Here's some more features. Station wagon features. Vehicle loading capacities. Allowable tire and wheel sizes. This is certainly interesting if somebody was wanting to restore a car and make sure that they had the right tire size. Of course, there's multiple ways to do that, but I find that interesting. That old-fashioned jack. As a kid, I had fun playing with the jack, trying to jack up maybe toys or chairs or something like that. But you'll notice there the base, and you'd use a wrench, and you'd jack it up on that vertical column, and you'll see there's the slots in the bumper. That's so different than now. Can you imagine having a slot in a bumper to jack up your vehicle these days? Tire rotation, appearance, safety, and security tips. Required maintenance services for emission control and proper vehicle performance. Mileage intervals, mileage in thousands. You have to service the automatic choke every 30,000 miles. That's something you don't see on modern vehicles. engine oil change every 6 months or 5,000 miles. So even back in 1976, the whole 3,000 mile oil change was not officially listed in the manual, but of course, changing it more often versus less often is generally better for the vehicle. But the maintenance information I found quite interesting. Recommended maintenance services, more information here, power steering and so forth. General maintenance that's unscheduled, such as battery care. Air conditioner sight glass information. Information about viscosity. This is for the rear axle. More information about what to do at various mileage and time intervals. Information about the coolant reserve system. There it goes. Specifications. Lots of specifications. So if anybody is especially curious about a certain specification or any information from a specific page here, feel free to comment below and I will do my best to answer it in a timely fashion. But as you can see, there are a lot of specifications right here in this manual for multiple vehicles, which is also a little different than most modern owner's manuals. You might have a couple vehicles listed, but this one's listing multiple vehicles, which is kind of interesting. Assist starting procedure if battery is low. Service assistance. I wonder what is currently at these locations. So like in Beaverton, Oregon, 10030 Southwest Allen Boulevard. I find that rather interesting. And then quality engineered for reliable performance, Mopar. Keep your vehicle factory new with Mopar parts and accessories. More information here. And then the service station checklist. Gas cap. Oil recommendations, tire inflation pressure, windshield washer, battery. Tells how to open the hood. And includes information on the safety catch. And that is the end of the manual there. Printed in USA. And back to the beginning. All right, I hope you all enjoyed this Dodge Monaco Charger, Coronet, Aspen, and Dart manual for the 1976 Operator's Manual. Thank you so much, everyone, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.